Hey, everybody. I'm Greg Sabo. This is Peter John Ross.
Hello.
And this is our first podcast in my home podcast studio. Something new, something of an experiment. And I have to tell you that it's going to be called the Sabo Ross Experiment. So, what the heck does that mean? Well, we don't know either. But for today's episode, we're going to talk some film production. And if you stay long enough, for those of you that might be actors or into production, we do have an announcement.
Yes, an upcoming project that we're going to announce.
So stay tuned for that. And I want to first discuss 2007, 2006, I made a feature film called The Courier. And as many probably know, sometimes you're not happy with your work.
Yeah, that happens.
So, it's been like 18 years, and I never released the film. And at this point, there aren't a lot of options. So today, we're briefly going to discuss how I'm going to release this film coming up in the next couple months. Ross is going to help me with that. We've got we've got our trailer, we've got some behind-the-scenes footage, but basically, we're talking FilmHub. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's a service called FilmHub. It's the website, filmhub.com, that just seems ideal for The Courier. It seems like the best way to get it out there now. Again, it's not going to make a ton of money, but it can make some money, and far more importantly, it'll get seen.
Yeah. So, the biggest thing for me is all my folks, I know it's been 18 years, and some people have passed away. Rest in peace. I just want my friends, I want the gang in Wheeling, Frank O'Brien. I want you guys to be able to see it. Some of these have had children, and they like their children to see the film. And I just want to get it out there because it also ties into what our announcement is going to be.
Yeah. Again, for both of us, we've kind of taken a break from especially the filmmaking community in Central Ohio. We just haven't been that involved lately. And kind of what was the big impetus for us recently? You'd mentioned that what you found inspiring about wanting to get back into film.
Well, I'll tell you exactly. It was probably, maybe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. It's not a film fest.
Yeah, not a film fest.
Okay, not a film fest. So Ross told me about it, and so we both went. And when I went to that, it was at Ohio HD. They used one of their big monitors, their multi-monitor screen, and I really, really enjoyed it. I was amazed at the people that were there, the projects that were there.
Yeah, it had people from every level. You had people that are just like parents making movies with their kids. Yeah. You had commercial professionals at a high level. People that had just moved here from Los Angeles showing off what they've done in terms of short films, commercial work. It was a very interesting, it was a very interesting event where you could see different stuff that you normally wouldn't see. And it was really good to see people in this community really doing some good work, or even if it's not necessarily the most polished or professional, they were doing fun things.
Yeah. It really actually just lit a fire under me because I love seeing all the camaraderie. I love seeing the creative. I love just, like you said, how many different levels of production there was. But it also made me realize that I miss it. I miss when you make an independent film, as you know, with Horrors of War. It's inspiring. It's creative. It tests everything that you know how to do, but there's satisfaction in it, and that's it.
So the way we met, not necessarily the first time we met. The first time you and I met was on a regular gig with Wynton Marsalis for Apple, I think, where you were the DP and I was the PA and a little baby grip, but I didn't know what the hell I was doing at all.
Yeah.
But that's the first time we met. But the first time we actually worked together on like a film project was Horrors of War. But the interesting thing about that was Horrors of War was the World War II Nazi zombie werewolf movie we made in 2005, 20 years ago this summer. But you were the DP on John Whitney's half of the film, and I had Scott Spears as the DP on my half of the film.
Yeah.
But we did cross over a few months later when we did pickup shoots. You were the DP on the pickup shoots, and we got to work together briefly then. And I was so happy how well we clicked.
Yeah.
You know, I thought he knows exactly what I'm looking for, and it worked great. And then after that, we wound up doing, what was the next thing we did? Was it Accidental Art?
Well, we jumped into some shorts. You had different creative ideas. I would pick up the phone and say, look, let's do something because, I got time, whatever it might be, or I need some inspiration. And Ross would come up with a short film, and we would just bang it out.
Yeah, because we did Accidental Art, which was interesting because we had a much larger crew because it had all this production design and effects work and stuff. But then a year or two later, we ended up doing something with just the two of us downtown with Ralph Scott, which is the cell phone monologue. Yeah. We just went downtown and banged that out real quick, which was fun. And that was just literally you and me and no one else. Yeah. And
well, that is something that I learned when I did the Courier because 80% of the Courier was done with 3 people. So, I don't mind working light, small crew. Sometimes you just have to be more creative, but short films, I love.
So that's the big thing. So tell me, what was the main kind of inspiration for the Courier? Like, where did the idea come from?
Well, first off, coming off Horrors of War, I still had an itch to do another feature, and sometimes, to get on a feature, sometimes maybe just do your own, right?
Come up with your own idea.
Yeah. So I came up with my own idea basically off a newspaper article, terrorism. That's what bombs and terrorism and action. But I think as I look back, don't make action your first feature film.
Because action requires a lot more shots for editing. It's a lot more work. And if you're doing things like a car and everything else, let's see. We got some comments. What do we got? Who's saying hi to us?
Oh, there's Sonia.
Hi, Sonia.
See, what's happening? Mary, that's Hazel's sister.
Hi, Mary.
There's Shane. Hey, Shane.
Hey, Shane Howard. Big props. So, so kind of what is... Summarize the Courier. Like, give me the log line. What's the log line?
Well, the log line is 72 hours to deliver a package. So,
and I like one of the things you came up with is a quick. It's a redneck James Bond. That was my favorite tagline of all time.
Well, I mean, redneck is something that is. I mean, I grew up, I think, as a redneck. I come from the Ohio Valley. Does that make me a redneck? I don't know, but. Rednecks know how to do a lot of stuff. But, redneck James Bond, that fit the bill perfectly because we're heading to the Ohio Valley, and we set the scene there, and, you run into a bunch of rednecks. We got Elvis.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to go ahead and let's play the trailer. So, Jay, why don't you go ahead and bring up the computer?
So,
Nope, it's not up.
This trailer is like, this stuff's old, folks, so.
Here we go.
There you go, the Sabo Ross experiment. You'll find out what that means in a little bit.
There's a package we want you to pick up.
What's in it?
What you don't know can't hurt you, won't hurt us.
A little late for that now. You want me to do this? You tell me. What's in the package?
You
told me thousands would die if I didn't take this mission.
Thousands of people die every day. As long as I'm not one of them, I have nothing to worry about.
I'd start to worry.
So yeah, oh man, I should have watched that as research for tonight, but I didn't because I kind of wanted to just get my refreshed take on the whole thing.
Yeah.
I love seeing everybody. I forgot Maya and Louis were in this. They were fantastic. Louis Cowan, Maya Sayer, who's in LA now, and the lead actor. Tell me about him.
Well, Michael Showers. So, we did this casting, and of course, we did casting locally, but Michael just turned up out of the blue. And Mark Burson, the director.
Yeah, we have to really give props to Mark as director for this.
Yeah, so, Mark picked Michael as the lead, and we were actually also looking at B-name actors. We actually had somebody picked out from L.A. I was just struggling with, a budget because I was just paying for everything, and it's like, where do you want to put your money? Now, a name probably would be a good idea, but...
well, in the end, Michael Showers...
Michael Showers...
was on his way to being a name. He got on some major TV shows and minor roles, but he actually had one of the leading roles in the HBO series Treme before ultimately he passed away.
Yeah, Michael was well on his way. I mean, the guy was relentless. He was going to casting calls. He would drive hours and hours for a casting call, even while we were filming. And, he took on this little indie project, and, I mean, it was tiny, but he never once complained, about the circumstances, or, we tried to feed everybody and give a hotel room, so.
He did a fantastic job in the movie. Like, you could tell that this is one of those people that has that charisma that jumps off the screen.
Yeah, well, one of the things, I mean, I'm sure everybody is a Breaking Bad fan.
Yes.
And then one day, I'm watching Breaking Bad, and there's Michael Showers.
Yeah. Oh my God, I forgot about it. He was in Breaking Bad in one or two episodes.
Yeah, he was like, he showed up in a conference room. I can't remember whether he was some kind of attorney or something.
Or an FBI agent or something.
Yeah. I was so thrilled to see him in that role.
So yeah, it has all the right elements you need to be a successful independent film. So I think at this point, the idea of putting it out now and streaming it is a very strong, good idea. And this is where I can help as best I can. I'm not exactly an expert at this, but I do have a little bit of experience doing this on one or two movies for myself and other people through FilmHub. So kind of like to modernize this, the first thing I'd say is the trailer's good. You're likely going to need to redo a trailer to make a very modern 2025 trailer.
Yeah, that's 2013 trailer, I think.
Oh, I thought it was earlier than that.
Yeah, it could be. It could be 2007. I don't know.
I can't remember, but there's other requirements with like the posters, and more importantly, when you do something like FilmHub today to put out a movie for streaming services, FilmHub has an interesting approach, which is we're going to try to put this in as many places as humanly possible. So they're going to try to get it on Amazon Prime proper, which is, we're streaming where nobody has to pay to see it other than their subscription. But the alternate idea is they'll get it on Amazon Prime where it'll be for sale and rental, which FilmHub does best at that. They get that on there. You could also do that directly yourself.
Yeah.
But FilmHub already does it for you along with all the others. So there's other platforms that this would be really good for. So the other thing is what FilmHub does is you upload not only a poster, but you have all the different sizes, some with text, some without, because you need those backgrounds for all the different streaming services to put their text on screen and where their play button is. Like it's all different on each service. So they want a fairly graphic looking image that represents the movie, but it's also got to be somewhat simple. So when we do this, there was a software we were talking about before this. What's the software you use that helps with a lot of that graphic stuff? What was that we were talking about?
Canva.
Canva.
So I've discovered Canva. If you haven't discovered it, for those that use Photoshop, and I'm a Photoshop novice, and I always have to watch a YouTube video just to cut out a background. Canva's just become like I mean, it's just fantastic. I can make movie posters, record album covers. I can remove backgrounds, titles. I mean, in seconds.
Yeah, and I think it has an AI base for that. Is that correct?
Well, there is an AI to it. It's not the best. So I use different AI software
For like generating an image from nothing.
Yeah, generating an image from nothing.
So Canva gives you more control than like an AI-based image
Absolutely,
generator.
yeah. So what I may do is I use Photor, which is a AI image creator. It also does make a little bit of video, but it also has a very good enhancer so that you can up-res old things and clean things up, and it does a wonderful job. I'll go from there over to Canva. I'll, if I want to generate a bunch of images, I'll AI the images, then I'll take it to Canva, change the sizes, add elements to it there.
So you're going to have kind of a shortcut as compared to most people.
Oh, man.
When it comes to doing this kind of generation, because they'll have a thing that's like, well, we need a 3x2 image, a 4x3 image, a 16x9 image, a 9x16 image. Like, they'll have all a 2x1. And what those are all describing is aspect ratios. This is describing kind of the shape of the image, whether it's a rectangle this way, almost a square. Because everything, like if you're watching streaming on a phone, it's going to have a completely different need for what the menu looks like. TVs will be different from different services. So all of these have different requirements. And so this is going to make your life a lot easier generating the material for this.
Well, I think, I'll be, in all honesty, part of the reason also that the excitement is back is because some of the tools that are available today just speeds up the process. Mm-hmm. And, I got like 1,000 ideas going in my head all the time. And now, within an hour, I can at least do 100 of those ideas, whip them through the AI or help me write, and then do what you just said. I can set the 9x6, with social media, TikTok and Instagram, and then, of course, YouTube. I can create all those different sizes very quickly. And, that helps take some of that BS out of the work, like that you don't want to do.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can tell you from even just like 2 years ago when it came to different streaming stuff done, it's like, man, just creating all these images. It's like that. I'm not a marketing guy. I'm not a Photoshop expert. Like it just dragged me down. But knowing these newer tools are available that could speed this right up really is a nice thing to know.
Yeah.
So beyond that, you're going to want to have the fuller synopsis. And again, we can work on that. And that's another thing that, again, it exists today that didn't exist before is kind of like, going to something like ChatGPT and getting advice on, well, what do you think would help sell this to an audience and like have it give you variations is just amazing.
Well, what's also amazing, and I just did a test on this, so you can upload a whole video to ChatGPT now, and it can read the dialogue.
Yep, it can create a transcript just by listening to it.
Yes. Now, I've never done 90 minutes. I'm sure that might be a
There's
problem.
some limitations I just found.
But maybe if you do a really low res, it might just be the file size.
Yeah, it has to be 100 meg. But you can also upload it in 20-minute chunks.
Yeah, that's true. That's
so
true.
It advised me on how to cheat their own system. It's very strange. I mean, I'm fairly new to ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I have a friend in Seattle who's been like begging me for 4 years to get into it about how much he loves it. I couldn't figure out what he liked. And over the last like 6 to 8 weeks, I'm like, this ChatGPT is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, I love it. It's with all the stuff spinning around in my head, ChatGPT can decipher a lot. I just throw in a few things into it, and it can give me some scenarios, some ideas. Maybe I might want to run with it. But it's like having your own
personal assistant.
Yeah, your own talking computer that knows everything.
Yeah, that's the thing is like I get so frustrated with Siri and Alexa.
Oh, dude.
I get so frustrated because those are not really AI. They're just an interactive voice for a specific purpose.
Yeah. Well, soon Alexa will be upgraded. She will become supposedly as good as ChatGPT.
Yeah, right.
Now, Apple, on the other hand, they got a long way to go.
Yeah, they were. I don't think they were viewing it for this purpose.
No.
Whereas I feel like there's so many good ones. Grok is very good.
Yeah.
Even though X.com as a site is not as good as it used to be, their new AI Grok, which is almost a separate thing, but you can use it on that site, it's very impressive. It's not that far behind and has the potential to just shotgun past everybody.
Yeah, Grok he's still, building that facility out, but it's almost up and running. I mean, the place is massive.
Yeah.
Massive.
But going back to FilmHub, so again, we can take this 2007 movie that most people haven't seen because of the look and feel that it was about old muscle cars, so it's got almost a timeless feel to it. The only thing that might look awkward is some of the cell phones.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. I saw one of the cell phones.
That's one of the only things that makes it look a little dated, but you can bill it as a period piece now.
Yeah. Well, I just everybody knows this. You go on Netflix, you go on HBO, Amazon Prime. Sometimes the older movies are number one.
Yeah.
It's like...
I don't think that's what the issue will be, is
Yeah.
like that it was shot in 2006 or 7.
Yeah.
I don't think that the only thing that's going to hold it up is going to be competition with everybody making movies. But
Yeah.
the thing is, you had so much production value.
Well, there's production value, but that's part of what to me, it's not the greatest. But the thing is, this is what I was thinking about doing a little contest, because the Courier is filled with little one-liners that are it's kind of redneck, right?
Yeah.
But one thing, if you smoke, you're going to love it. Cigarettes or whatever. Somebody's got to count how many cigarettes are in every scene of that movie, because I was buying cigarettes by the cartons. Michael Showers, man, he smoked. But boy, I had him really smoking. So did Burson. Yeah. Oh, man.
So let's talk about, just go into that briefly, because I want to make sure he gets proper credit. Mark Burson.
Yes.
You guys had worked together for years before that, right?
Yeah. Mark, Mark is a great filmmaker. He worked with Ralph Colelli. Ralph Colelli was a director, had his own production company here in Columbus, Ohio. And, this is when we did all film, right? Just like Horrors of War. Horrors of War, we shot on 16 mil. I had an SR. As a matter of fact, there's an SR sitting back here somewhere. But so myself, Burson, we all come from the film background. And cinema, like really video assist and don't let people see what you're shooting, and let them look through the eyepiece once in a while, and they give you a quarter, like, here you go. But Burson had already done a couple features, and I just brought it up to him, and he jumped on board right away, because he's just that kind of guy. He helped me take the idea, and he wrote maybe the first 20 pages, 25 pages. And then he got involved, and we shot crazy hours schedule, but eventually he had to go back and make money. So he kind of left me, and then I had to finish the film on my own.
Yeah, it happens. And so his role was kind of like he co-wrote it, or did he write the screenplay and you had the story? Because that's more of a WGA Writers Guild kind of thing, but doesn't count. But
well, he wrote all the dialogue for at least half the movie,
okay.
I mean, line for line.
So he's like co-writer and the director of the movie.
Yeah.
And he was heavily involved in the edit too at times, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So he did come back to help fine-tune the edit. We would rough cut it, myself and Jared. Mm-hmm. And then I think maybe John Whitney, and I think maybe you.
I did a little work on a couple scenes.
We had a variety. I can't quite remember.
That was my first time cutting in Final Cut.
Oh, yeah, Final Cut. Yeah, we were doing
Final Cut 6, I think. And I'd never cut in Final Cut, and I ducked to water with that before they went to that horrible X.
Yeah. You know what the thing was too is I go back and think about this. Hard drives. I mean, to have a 500
meg or 500 gig.
500 gig hard drive was like, ooh, that's big time. Cost me a fortune. Cost me more in hard drives than it did to make the movie.
And that's what happens when you go tapeless.
Yeah.
That's what's terrible about a tapeless world is like it's all data backup. When hard drives fail, you're done.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, that's true. But
so this But I think the thing is, I also think that one of the things that's a benefit, in my opinion, looking at the landscape, is I subscribe, between my roommate and I, we split the streaming services of who gets what. So I've got Disney, he does Hulu, I do Paramount now and Max. He did both of those for a while. I have the Disney Plus, I think I said, and I have Netflix. So we split those costs. So on all of our Roku TVs, we have virtually every streaming service. So I'm looking at what's out there all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that the Courier, I think the time is now. I think it's actually strangely going to be more successful in 2025 than it would have been in 2007.
Well, I agree, because now, listen, I did go out, myself and Burson went out to California for the
AFM, the American film market, where
and
that's where people go to sell their movies to distributors, especially in foreign countries.
Now, I had every intention, and I did do it. I wanted to go to Lionsgate, so I bulldozed my way into them, and I had a trailer, and I got somebody at Lionsgate to talk to me and watch this trailer, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I had every intention to.
How else would you do it if you don't have those automatic connections? That's the way to go.
Well, yeah, I just wanted to learn everything. So soup to nuts, they might say. That included going out to AFM, which was the big place to sell your film, and I did it all. And then at the end, it's just nothing happened. Well, you kind of find out that distributors are not quite who they say they are. So
distributors tend to be thieves and crooks and liars.
Yeah. And then that's
well, I'd put it more of the sales agents who sell to them are the biggest liars on the planet. The people that are a sales agent or a producer's rep that rep your film, they are the most dishonorable, shady people on the planet in general. I've only known of a couple that were good and pure, and guess what? They don't do this anymore.
Yeah.
But I mean, so looking at one thing, if you were to look back as a regret, would you say that maybe you played it a little too close to the chest? Like you were holding out for something and it didn't sell it at the time? Or what do you think it was that prevented you from doing anything with the film until now?
Once I got a bad taste in my mouth with the fact that the reality is it's not really what the quality of the film, but it was just the process of getting it distributed. I realized that you couldn't trust anybody, and being something that I made, that all that hard work, I just decided to shelf it. And then, life goes on, you get busy, and I just left it at that. And I just really didn't think about it anymore. I just wanted to keep making things.
And then the other thing that you said earlier, which is something we all experience, I know I feel this way about Horrors of War, which is we're our own worst judge of our work.
Well, yeah.
I still, to this day, it has been 18 years since 2007 is the last time I've seen Horrors of War, and I can't watch it. I just can't. I can't watch it. All I see is regret.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I want to put out there, because I got this question a few times, and we have some behind the scenes B-roll and stuff that I was looking at today, because I haven't pulled out those tapes in 15 years. It was amazing to see all my friends or coworkers that did help, and you kind of forget how much camaraderie, how many people put effort for nothing. Some might have got paid a little bit of money. In the end, though, I want to talk about the budget, because people never want to mention that stuff. So, I didn't have anybody to answer to, because I paid for the whole thing. But in the end, and I tried to put a number to the whole thing. So I spent about $15,000 total on the production, and I spent $10,000 on the sound design. Because I had it done professionally by Circa
Music.
Yes.
Alan DeCenzo's company.
Alan did a wonderful job, and I just thought that's.
And even then, that was probably a hugely discounted rate.
Big time discount. You kidding me? That guy did me a favor.
Oh yeah, because Circa Music did, one of their mainstays was doing like straight to video Disney sound design.
They've got all kind of Disney work. To this day, they're in Florida now, still knocking it out of the park.
Yeah. And again, that's something that a lot of people that don't understand about filmmaking, because we're all about cinematography and visuals, but sound is 50% of the experience.
Yeah, no, I mean, and now here's the thing though. As I go back, one of the things I don't like, and it's nothing against Alan, but times have changed. I don't love the sound design anymore. I don't necessarily like the quality of the audio, but that was 2006, 2007 technology, more or less. And, I didn't have an audio guy on the shoot except for like one day. I had Tim Dutton come in and do sound. One day. I did the sound with little wireless lavs, and I monitored it myself while I shot. Yeah, so do a feature film without an audio guy. It's or any digital recorders, because they didn't really have such a thing,
Not like they do today.
No.
Again, so much has changed in those 18 years technologically, and even, again, preference. I guess the thing I would say about what you don't like about that soundtrack today is probably more preference because of modern sound sensibilities. Is that what you would say?
Yeah, I suppose. I can't put my finger on it. I just don't like the overall sound, period.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think that necessarily reflects poorly on
No, not
music.
at all. No.
I just want to make sure we're not like trying to roll somebody under.
No, not at all. It's just, my tastes have changed.
Yeah, that's, again, also your sensibilities and your preferences in 2025 are not the same as they were in 2007.
No.
So that's something I don't think that you're not looking to fix that today. We're going to go with the movie as is.
It's going as is, because I want to get it out there. And as soon as you give me all the steps, and the reason why we're talking about all this is because I know there's a lot of guys and gals that got film projects, and maybe distribution has changed somewhat today. I mean, it really has, because
completely
of, the different avenues. But maybe this will help somebody. I got a 90-minute feature. It's going to get out there one way or another. It's going to be on these streaming services. I'm not in it for the money anymore, and I want everybody to see it.
And that's so getting back to that topic of what I'm going to be helping you with is going to be, so the first step with FilmHub is we've got to upload it to their specifications. Now, one of their tricks that I've been reading a lot lately is they're trying to charge people for the transcripts and specifically for closed captioning. So one of the things, but what's odd about that is virtually every editing software has amazing auto transcription, but it's not perfect. So you can't just rely on that. You will have to manually check, because it has to be for ADA compliance, for the disabilities compliance for people that are deaf. The captions have to be at least 90 to 95% accurate, which is how they're able to get people and charge them more, because they'll spend the money and the time to make sure it's right. But if you spend that time, like if you just loaded in the latest version of Adobe Premiere or DaVinci, you'll get probably like an 80% accurate, and you'll just have to go through it line by line and just make sure everything is exactly accurate.
Well, that's what's so great about technology, because I know I've used the caption in a Premiere, and it works. It's sometimes you got to go back, find that word, or a comma or a space, but you no longer have to pay.
Yep.
So that's another perk.
That's one thing that we used to have to pay for an outrageous sum of money to get the transcripts done well, and there was such specifics to the captioning. All of that is built into your software for free today.
Yeah, and I know.
It's shocking. So that's going to be where we're going to quality control it before they see it, and we're not going to let them bill us hundreds of dollars for that, since we'll be able to do it. Again, the image sizes for the thumbnails is going to be a big deal. The quality of the actual image and the bitrate stuff. The other thing is you have to make sure you're at a certain bitrate, so that when you upload to FilmHub, they have to then send that file to other streaming companies that'll all have slightly different specifications. And they'll transcode, meaning take your file and compress it to their streaming service. And so we need to make sure it's of the highest quality, so when it takes that slight 10% quality bump going to different services, that it maintains a high quality.
Yeah.
And given all the effort you put into the visuals, the lighting and the camera work,
it's got substance. I mean, there's no scene that's like underlit or grainy or noisy that so that's all there.
So that's all there, and it's going to work great. So then the next thing is once we get past what they call the quality control part of the file and the images and everything else, at that point, they're going to put it on their site as almost like a menu option. I got lucky where at the film festival that I run, I met one of the distributors that buys from FilmHub, and I got to see what their side of it looks like. So I got to see what the interface looks like as a filmmaker.
Wow.
Then I got to see how a distributor sees it. So I got all kinds of insight on how does this appear, where does it appear, and I think you have all the elements that will help you get suggested to more companies.
Well, that's why we have the Sabo Ross experiment going on here, because Ross is good at a lot of things, including this type of knowledge base, and that kind of leads us into
what we're doing now.
Yeah, what we're up to. So I don't want to bore you all with the Courier a lot, but it shows you the thought process. Look, I was crazy enough to go make a feature and do it big, which I guess I could because I own a lot of equipment and things like that, and so that's kind of a hindrance at the same time. And I did do it with the latest technology that at the time was the VariCam, and Panasonic recognized it and put me on their Panasonic VariCam demo reel as one of the top 5 cinematographers to use that camera when it first came out. That was quite an accolade. But what we've got going on next, as I think we have enough credibility to do this. Do you want to fill them in a little bit? Because this is where, if you're an actor, you might want to listen up.
Yeah, if you can bring up the computer and give us the picture-in-picture there real quick. Take number 4. Okay, so let me bring up the next thing, which is going to be... So what we're going to do is we have Sabo Ross bearing. Put us on the bottom right corner to make it a little easier. There you go. So what we're talking about is we're starting production on a few new short film projects.
Yes. So we are going to go horror because I don't want to do another action film.
And I don't want to do another documentary right now.
So this goes back to that it's not a film fest?
Yes.
Was that the title?
Yeah, not a film fest.
It goes back because one of the projects, the one that got the full audience participation, was a horror film. There was,
a lot of them.
There were a lot of horror films, and man, people like horror films. So the Sabo Ross experiment is a lot of things, including this podcast. But
yes, we're go ahead and cut to just us on the wide. Thank you. Yeah, so it's not just going to be horror that we're doing, but we're starting with not 1, not 2, but 3 horror projects over the course of the summer. So what we're looking for right now is we're looking for actors to upload auditions to us. We're going to send out notices to all the casting agencies and to all the groups and LinkedIn and everything. We're starting to start the audition process, and we're going to make it pretty modern there too, which is we're going to have people able to just upload to YouTube or Vimeo and send us your private link of an audition. We'll have sides where you can read out parts of scenes. We're looking for all characters, all ages, all types. You'll be able to upload and send us a link, or you can upload straight to us.
Well, don't forget. So we have a splash page or a website. Mm-hmm. It's Sabo Ross, saboross.com. And as you scroll to the bottom, there is a button that says casting. You can click that and you'll get right to an upload spot where you can upload your audition. We do have one script finished.
We have one script finished. The other 2 are still being worked on, but they're going to be ready and shooting this summer for sure.
Yeah, so I'm itching to get going. Locations taken care of. We got the script finished. It's just a matter of polishing off a few actors, and we're going to get at it.
Yes, we are. So that's our big thing right now, is that we are looking to create some new, fresh projects from us. We might be a little older than we used to be, but I think we're a lot more seasoned than we used to be. And I think the biggest thing is I think we know what we're doing at this point, and we just want to get back to what made us love filmmaking.
Yeah.
The passion for telling stories, the passion for, just working with other people, having fun, getting our stuff seen. And part of what we're going to do is, if either of us involved, that means we're going to spend real time not just making the movie, but marketing it. The one thing we can guarantee to people is this will be seen, and it'll get seen a lot.
Hey, show them, if you would, the little picture of our first project. Now, this is kind of, I'm not going to give away the storyline, but...
I do have that. Hang on one second. Keep talking while I find it.
Yeah, so we're not going to give up the storyline, but this is a little representation, this image of what it's about.
Okay, you can bring it up now. Number 4. There you go. Yeah, so this is an image that represents what the script is. I think you actually even came up with a name. What did you name that?
Well,
we don't have a title for it yet, but you had a better name for a title than I did.
It's called Born to Burn.
And that's, you can come back to the wide. And that's kind of where we're at right now with that. But yeah, we're planning on not only doing this, but I mean, we want to keep doing this podcast, that we want to keep talking like this and doing things where it's not necessarily always going to be straight on filmmaking stuff. We could be talking about virtually any topic. And we haven't quite figured out exactly what this podcast is always going to be, but we're having a good time just doing this, and we want to just keep making things.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, there's a zillion podcasts out there, I'm sure, and whether we get any traction or not, but it's just fun to have a voice. It's fun to experiment with all this technology, and and what AI brings to the table, and how we're going to execute these projects. It is a new age, and
let's see. Do we get any new comments though?
Born to Burn, yes.
I think we have a question. What does Shane ask there?
Ross, did this play at the Continent at one of your showcases back in the day?
Yes, we did. Didn't we do the Courier at the Continent in the movie theater? I thought it was one of the ones we did for the Cowtown film series. I think we did.
If we did, I don't remember that.
I can't remember if that's
good
one
old
of the ones.
Continent. I used to love that place.
I used to love the Continent, and I had a real big in with the theater there. I don't even know if that theater is still open, but that's a scary place now, the whole area.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
I can't remember, because in 2009, I did one feature film a week, and I thought we did do the Courier, but maybe we didn't. I can't remember.
But, going back to these short films, one thing Ross is incredible at is getting these at the Film Fest. He knows that stuff inside and out. And, we're going to focus our budgets there and in different marketing and things, because, we do want to reach a large audience, and horror, I think we both agree, is a way to,
there are so many genre film festivals that are horror only, and I have not tapped into that since Horrors of War, and I definitely want to get back to that too. I have so many friends that's their whole genre, and I wouldn't mind dipping my toe in there again. It's been 20 years since I've done anything related to horror.
Well, and also the thought on this is, at least the first 3, they're all different types of horror.
Yes. We have horror comedy, like kind of psychic paranormal, and then we've got typical slasher.
Slasher, yeah.
So those are the 3. We're kind of we're not just going to do horror, we're going to mix it up and hit every subgenre of horror along the way that we can do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, why not?
Why not? Right? That's the whole point. Yeah. So, all right. So I think that pretty much wraps up today.
Yeah. So look for the saboross.com site. If you want to cast yourself, if you want to put a headshot up, feel free. I don't have any specific requirements just yet, because it's 3 films and plus whatever else we come up with. We're going to keep these lean to make it so that we can actually execute it. I don't want to get too marred down in overcomplicated projects. So the idea is volume and fun and horror.
And that's what we're planning to do. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah,
Thanks
thank
for
you.
tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in.